Hey guys, and welcome to my first tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to finish some ornaments using plastic canvas and felt. First off, I go for this canvas. There are a couple different kinds. There's one with the big squares. That's really thick. You probably use that for yarn. I've never used that. I always go with the little petite round holes, and this is 14 mesh, so this is like a 28 count perforated plastic. It's Darris brand, and I got this at Joann's. I start off with this canvas. And what I'm going to want for the felt is not the soft flippy felt, it's not the floppy stuff, this is the stiffer pieces of felt. And as you can see here, I have several different colors. I've used several different colors for different projects. Red, pink, white, green, blue. Most of my blue is gone because I used this for Christmas ornaments for gifts last Christmas or the Christmas before. You want the stiff kind because this will stand up to gluing. So last night, I don't have step-by-step on everything. I didn't have everything ready for this. This is kind of on the fly or off the fly, whichever way that goes. I did not have an ornament that was unglued. So I went ahead last night, took about 20 minutes, and I stitched this little teeny tiny fish. This is using the soda project I'm currently working on. I just stitched this little guy up just for demonstration purposes. Now what I'm going to use is a little bit of this blue felt, and you're just going to cut a small piece. You just want to make sure you have a little bit extra around it. I'm not actually going to do anything with this unless I use it for a miniature Christmas tree. Something like that, and I just cut it with just not terribly much extra. Because it's small, you don't need to waste felt. So I just cut a small piece. This is a really nice little pair of scissors I got. They're Fiskars. They cut super well. And this is the glue that I use. I've used a couple different glues over the years, but this is the most recent one. It's the clear gel tacky glue. You just want to make sure that when it dries clear. So this one starts out clear. It can't possibly go dark. I don't, unless it's miraculous. So let me push my felt out of the way. So all I'm going to do is with this little fishy, and this just goes for any project you have that you're going to do this with. You just want to put your finger on the felt, and you want to just let a little bit of glue out at a time. I probably should have done something a little bit bigger because this is kind of small. But all you do is you just take your glue and you just smush it out and push it over the stitched portions. You just make sure the stitched portion is good. You can squeeze it, get a little bit out, and then just smooch it around. So then you just flip it, and you just take it, and you want to just drop it wherever you're going to put it to where you have enough room around it. And you're going to trim it, so it doesn't have to be ideal. So then you just push it down, and then what you're going to do with this, so you can let it dry, you just either stick it between the folds of a heavy book, or you put something heavy on top of it. With me, I'll probably stick this in or underneath a container of sorts. So I'm just going to stick that aside. I'm just showing you the step-by-step. Now this is the one I have ready to go. This is a kitty cat ornament that is already pre-glued, pre-fastened. You can see it's nice and stiff. It's not floppy. It's not, nothing. It's really nice and stiff. It gives a good body to it. And all I'm going to do with this at this point is I use transparent nylon thread. I'm not the most amazing at starting this up, but I'm going to show you anyway. So I have two different needles. This will depend on what goes through best. This is a little bit bigger needle. Let me show you. A little bit bigger needle, and it's got a sharp point. And this needle is little bit smaller, and it's a touch more on the dull side. I'll see which one works better. And so all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of just thread it kind of like I would my normal stitching. I double this because this nylon thread is very thin. And I'm sorry, I just knocked my camera holding apparatus, which is, oh, you would laugh if you saw how I did this. So I just get my thread, and I'm just gonna take it out of your vision for a second so I can see if I'm doing this right. Yeah. Okay, so I get this threaded, and then this is what I do. This is what I always do. This, and with Krennic type things, or Rainbow Gallery, I tie a small knot in the end, because if I don't, they're slipping, they're coming apart, and I'll just trim it. Now with this, you really don't have grippy of any kind. You just don't, this is not thread, you don't have any texture to stop it. So, and it just came undone because I just pulled it out of the wrong end. Brilliant of me. This is real life, and this is live recording. Alright, now I got it on there right. So now you can see my needle, the thread, well, maybe you can see, maybe you can't. It's caught on the knot, so it's not going to come out. So then I just take my project and I just start anywhere. I'm going to start in the low corner. And once you get going, you can feel where you're coming up, and you're just going to just act like you're back stitching. You're just going to do this like back stitching all around every edge, every corner, every stitch around the edge. So then you just fasten it, you disconnect it like that, secure it, and you just get going. And yes, this is always, there's always a few minutes you got to get used to the feel of it so you can now tell where you're at. And so I'm just basically going to back stitch around this project. Now, one thing I will say, if you're doing a whole lot of these in a row, you can get sore fingers. So if you choose to use a thimble, you can use a thimble. I'm having a challenge finding this. There you go. You can use a thimble. I don't use thimbles because, and you'll just see the stitching is just very, very tiny on the back. I don't use thimbles because I have a kind of large fingers, and they bother me. So you just got to feel for the hole. And after you've been doing this a little while, you'll get used to it, and the holes will be easier to find. So this is what I do on my ornaments. And I've done a lot of these in the past. And I've given a lot of them for gifts, and people have usually really appreciated these. I have had a couple people who just, I don't know, either they didn't like the pattern I used, or they just didn't, you know, care, or had no real appreciation for stitching at all. But for the most part, it's been well received. And then I always enjoy going to people's houses the next year or the following year after that and seeing if they have them displayed on the tree or not. Sometimes I'm disappointed. But anyway, you're getting the main idea here. You just go around all the different edges, all these stitches all around the edge. And it does take some time. I mean, anything with needle and thread, anything that's crafty like this, takes time. And you just have to realize, you know, just keep at it and you will eventually get to the end. So that's how you do that. And I'll just put this needle up here for the moment. So then what you're going to do after you've gotten it stitched all the way around, it's not going to go anywhere. I mean, it's secure without doing this. The stitching is really my extra step of precaution. I then take Let me move this stuff out of the way. Let me move the shiny paper out of the way too. I then take a sharp pair of scissors and I go about the width of the scissor. I go about that far away. It's about a stitch width away. You can see I'm cutting here. I don't want to cut too far because I don't have this all fully secure yet, but I'll show you this on this bottom part. And you want to go about a stitch away, and then you join those ends. And if you ever do it and it doesn't look quite perfect, you can always just kind of perfect those edges. And then you just keep going all the way around, all the way across. And I'm going to do a couple in there, a couple notches in there. But for the most part, it's very easy. And like I said, you just go up about a stitch's width. Some of these can be slightly tricky, but you can always go in and you know, correct it if you don't get it quite right the first time. If you don't cut quite deep enough, or if you don't get it quite square enough, you can always correct it, which definitely, believe me, I do that a lot. Alright, so, and I keep bumping the camera with my noggin, I'm so sorry. So you just follow that same path and you just trim all these different edges, you just trim it all the way around. I normally would not have done this without having it fully fastened down. And then in the very end, this is my little trick. Once you've got it all the way at the very end and you're done stitching, you grab some DMC thread of any color, a full 6-strand little chunk of it, and well, let me see if I can show you. I'm going to pause for a second and get this set up so I can show you. Alright, so for this part, you just take a little chunk of DMC color. Any color. You can choose to be wild if you wish. And I don't think my needle is quite the right size for this, but I'm going to try. Pardon me while I lick my floss. Okay, so now I threaded 6 strands of DMC, a full length of it. And what I'm gonna do, and I'm actually gonna relearn this while I'm showing you because it's been a little while since I've done this. Okay, I'm gonna come up. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the center, and this will be a little bit easier to do when you're all done, and it's complete. All the extra felt is trimmed away because there won't be any extra weight from anything else. And you find your center by simply sticking your needle in one of the top stitches, and then if it looks like it's tilting one direction, it's not quite right. If it looks like it's tilting the other direction, you're not quite right. So you can just go from one hole to the next hole and see if you can find the exact center hole. Sorry. Okay, that one's a little bit harder to find. Okay, I think I actually had the right stitch to begin with because this is leaning a touch more that direction. So when you find your center hole, go back into your center hole, and we're going to pull this through, and you're going to have to tug it pretty strongly. You tug it like that, and then you're going to go right back through the same hole again. Okay? And this will work better if you have finished it all off and trimmed all the extra felt. This will absolutely work better. So then you leave it like that with this little loopy there. So you pull it back through and you leave the loop. And what you're going to end up doing is taking these 2 strands now and pulling them through the loop. like that, and then you just tie them together at the end. And I know that kind of sounds really confusing, but this is what you end up with in the end. This is what you end up with, the trimmed ornament, all the nice edges cut, and then this is what your loop tie ends up looking like. So you can see and you can see the back. It's nice. It's nice. It's very clean looking. It's not all sloppy. It's not all messy. Now you can take a felt pen or a regular pen if you wish, and say to from on there if this is a gift, or you can notate the year you stitched it in. But I've loved using these. They turn out so cute, and this is so sturdy. It's not, I mean, there's nothing flimsy about it. It's just nice and sturdy, nice and strong. And I know it looks kind of intimidating to go from all this and have to do all the whip stitching and then have to trim it all, but really it just turns out so cute. And I have several of these I could show you finished, but I just think they're adorable. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it didn't sound too complicated for you. And if you try it, I'd love to hear how it turned out. And I'm hoping I can help you guys, now that the holidays are soon upon us, get some of those ornaments finished up. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for visiting. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.